It's the lazy theologian, the clumsiest poet, stumbling through the poplar grove, and he doesn't even notice those toes bled a little. Bathrooms are sacred space if faith is under the left nipple. That's the king, no Martin Luther. You might have seen him riding on a green Martian scooter, clutching a Hewlett-Packard computer.
Rap Ferreira, Milo, Scallops Hotel, or as many other aliases, is one of my favorite rappers / poets. Amongst contemporaries, I've always felt he had an amazing ability at painting distinct yet vivid images that capture the moods of his songs. Even with similar themes, he can flex those moods to great effect, be it fond nostalgia or a bitter one, or finding one's place as opposed to keeping people out of one's. Another thing that Milo always impresses me with is his beat selection, and fitting both his lyrics and flow to those feelings the beat tries to convey. In this video, I wanted to highlight 4 of my favorite songs from him, examples of his brilliance, and a bit of interpretation from me. While I highlight specific lyrics, I want you to try visualizing the scenes with your own imagination.
I can rebuild Castle Grayskull from a pile of dirty laundry. Pretty sure that'll keep those pesky demons from haunting me. I'm the logical conclusion to the reading rainbow generation. Maybe I'm LeVar Burton. How can anyone be certain that they're not LeVar Burton?
Almond Milk Paradise was the song that made me fall in love with his music. Milo here talks of a distant kingdom, or paradise, almost as a memory vault, both distant yet a place he wants to protect. Littered with depictions of both common childhood experiences and his own uniqueness, with a warm, wavy backdrop beat that sounds like a sunset, and its wavy synths and bubbly drums always putting me in a good mood.
Caskets clean, these bastards rockin' lean, and their pockets are stained with Asper cream while I'm in the back learning the basket.
He even references LeVar Burton and Reading Rainbow, which to me just solidifies what he's trying to say here. The whimsical surroundings around him during his childhood still being with him to that day, and even accuses another person of losing that sense of wonder. His voice holds a certain proudness that to me says, these are the things that make me, and that reminiscing about those are always something that he can fall back on. I can almost imagine him as a Mr. Rogers type character on a show telling kids about fantastical adventures he's been on or something like that. This song feels like watching an old VHS tape and remembering all the good times. It's great at capturing that positive side of nostalgia.
This is the almond milk paradise. This is the almond milk paradise. This is the almond milk paradise. Go away.
I should not sit on this couch and watch Netflix. I should take pouty mouth pics for my press kit. I should defy the rules of logic. I should invent some quirky new merchandise product. I just want to rap good and not sell breadsticks. I will not become a martyr for the deadbeats. I will shave my beard off by the end of this week. I will go out and learn to socialize and figure out why all my ex-girlfriends hate me. I'm going to put this big brain to good use.
Folk metaphysics I see as a foil of Almond Milk Paradise. Instead, Milo both lists several things he regrets or still ponders about in the past and criticizes his behavior in the present. At the beginning, he lists several promises for things he wants to do to become a better person or poet, but explains himself in the chorus.
I don't make promises I can't keep, which is why I won't make promises ever. And when I write letters to those ex-girlfriends, that's going to be the header. I don't make promises I can't.
It shows the uncertainty he feels, almost lost in his timeline of life. This is surrounded by a more somber and tactile sound that feels like a dark room, with a skittering noise especially emphasized in the beginning that reminds me of flipping through pages, maybe a journal. Along with this time, a voice that I interpreted as trying to say, why aren't I doing better when I know how I've done bad in the past? An almost confident yet bitter remembering he conveys this time, and even kind of breaks down at 120.
Stench. I think my muscles should be bigger. I don't know much about being in nothingness, but I might just be a being of nothingness. I heard there's going to be a rap parade.
He uses this then to create an image of the death of his identity, a self-deprecating list that he makes to show his insecurities and how it might lead to this fake person becoming him. It's him telling himself how he will change, but also reminded himself how he has failed and might again. Both of these songs so far get you to think back, but for different reasons, and I admire Milo's ability to do that so well.
I'm almost positive if I made better mix CDs, I'd bother less with relationship complexities. You know, sometimes I stutter, sometimes I forget to put on cocoa butter. Sometimes I wish I was better at songwriting. Sometimes I feel like the master of thong wiring. In the future I will neuter my ambitions. I will give in to anxiety. I will observe superstitions. I will be Indiana Jones and smoke trains.
I like to rap. I love rapping. Poets. I'm a rapper myself. I'm a rap for y'all. Get the fuck out the way, brother. There's some serious shit here.
Surrounded by Anglos and Amalo, thinking about Amadou Diallo. Fitted like a shaman in Diablo, high note vibrato. Evening sense of Sonder Weg on Arrowwood, reading anecdotes about heroin, thinking of dead friends. Who gon' notify Google? Schopenhauer fought ennui with poodles. Niggas been swindled, bamboozled by civility and menthol nicotine. I guess it's getting to me. Musical chairs with multiple identities.
Milo's in a better place here, I like to think, but I can see him remembering those feelings he displayed on Folk Metaphysics. With a more active voice, he takes a certain charge that can be described as him going back to his roots or status quo, but definitely in a new way, like the end of a hero's journey of some sort. This is backed by the sample of John Witherspoon at Def Jam and references to Langston Hughes. I see it as Milo remembering his influences in black background and celebrating them, whilst comparing himself to them. He carries himself with more braggadocious lyrics, but still leaves room to clarify that he still sees himself at growing, part of which with the beautiful imagery I'm used to in his poetry. All of this is backed by a soothing yet cascading piano loop and a simple confidence that his voice carries.
Tucked under my tiny t-shirt, a Sennheiser, acting out, undeserving of a humble brag. It's simply me in my mansion of thumbtacks. Monsieur Baron de Holbach wipes his hands of reality and sets about creating new galaxies. Love letters never sent, but I'm anxious.
Also, he references Futanari, which is pretty funny, but him contrasting that with eating pudding-esque, I see him declaring his complexity and depth as a person. Myth-building exercise number 9 feels like a nice bookmark in his life that is both a celebration and a reminder. A nice evolution from Folk Metaphysics.
Complex messages, simplest, you need a vessel to sail the river Styx. Rubaiyat deliver complex messages, simplest, you need a vessel. It starts like this. Dum, 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 dum. I don't know. I thought they might have killed me, so I read the Hagakure on a very long drive from Chicago to here, holding Viking spears, and I cried a lot of tears. But you know I kept an oxbow lake in my thoughtful cave, and we both thought in gray or shades, maybe even monochrome. This monotone is great till the monotony saw its own philosophy to justify the dimples in its face. So we made a couple sticker packs and pretended we didn't hear when white fans said nigger fast.
Souvenir was a song that played at the beginning of the video, and is my all-time favorite track from Milo, even one of my favorite songs of all time. I can find all the same emotions from the 3 other songs I highlighted, all merged together in a sort of thesis for Malo's psyche. And with a production by the amazing Kenny Siegel, it's held up by a slow yet impactful sound that I even find myself writing poetry to. His most beautiful scenes I also find in the song.
Indeed, he's ageless like Trevor Thornberry. I don't worship Norse gods or stone fairies. At home on a cracked iPhone, alone and hairy, casting postmodernist abracadabra. It starts like this.
All these describe his surroundings with just a touch of fantasy, and display his feelings from his view about himself in interestingly abstract ways. Even Hemlock Ernst, who is the feature on this, hops in similar bars.
Kelly brought me green tea ice cream. I could never forget eating sushi on $10, feeling rich. That was 06. And I wrote a lot of mean shit, but only got love in my heart to go along with all them sad ships that never came. But that's just life, and life is strange. How do you change the way you change the way you feel? Rain to wash the window clear, wipe away constellation, atmosphere, blue lagoon, my isolation. Now I'm paper plane folding myself into a fortune, hoping some missing ocean will find some luck. My brother questioned once, life in a fishbowl leaves me floating in the punch, just trying to stay sober.
Awareness to growth, although a theme in most of his music, I find most philosophical here, with even references to Soren Kierkegaard, the Hagakure, and Murakami. Lastly is the bitterness or resentment Milo conveys on Souvenir, which ties into the title and theme of the song. The feeling of being a tourist or tourist invading one's personal space, the former being described by,
There's Pollo and this Menudo. I'm the newest fellow in this group though, and they're all feasting on my naivete.
and for context is him recently joining a new music group and describing his experiences feeling ostracized, and the latter actualized by,
Let me take out a full-page Vice ad that supposes it might ask if underground hip-hop was just one tight fad. This is an all-seeing eye patch, if I might add.
It's him calling out critics who belittle his art to merely being a fad and how they better cover that pretentiousness. I find Milo's best in Souvenir, everything contributing to what Milo has to say. Milo, Rory, or Ferreira is an absolute artist, and I'll keep following everything he does. I'm glad he's getting even more recognition with Purple Moonlight Pages and Bobson. I just had more time and experience with his work as Milo and wanted to share it. I'll be honest, I know little of analyzing music, no music theory or instrumentation over here, but I can definitely catch inspiration from him for my writing and at least describe and enjoy the music from where I stand. So thank you for watching. This is my third video now. I think I still need a lot to work on, and I have a lot of more ideas and topics I want to talk about. So if you enjoyed this video, please like it, and if you want to join me on that journey, consider subscribing. It would mean a lot.